Tips with Tony. Tips with Tony. All about nutrition from your favorite dietitian. Everything you need to digest in your mind. Tips with Tony. Tips with Tony. Making you healthier one bite at a time. With Tony. Woo.
Hello and welcome to the Tips with Tony podcast. I'm Tony Marinucci, your registered dietitian, helping you get healthy one bite at a time. In today's episode, we're talking all about self-care and how to create your own self-care menu. This is actually an episode that was inspired by my client, Joshua. Joshua, I hope you're listening. He actually graduated from my program, and you're going to hear from him in a couple of weeks about what he's learned and how successful he's been. And one thing that we would talk about consistently was how to give himself more love, how to show up for himself more, give himself some more self-care, because that would prevent things like emotional eating, excessive cravings, binging, all the things that often came from when he neglected himself. And he's not alone in this. I personally practice this because I have a history of when I ignore my feelings and I ignore my needs, I would end up in binge and I would end up in eat emotionally. And I can count many other of my clients who've come to me for this very same reason. So before we even talk about how to create your self-care menu, a definition of self-care, I thought I'd share with you something that I just watched on TikTok. I should have shared it on my story on Instagram, but I was watching it late last night, probably up later than I needed to be. TikTok is addicting. If you feel me, just let me know that I'm not alone in this. But it's so great. I absolutely love all of the funny, cute, educational things that I actually find on TikTok. As there's a lot of craziness on there, but there's also a lot of great stuff on there. Anyways, so this random account came up and the question was, stitch this. What's one thing that your therapist taught you that literally changed your life? And she went on to explain how her therapist kind of described her giving as she was giving too much. And I want to explain kind of how it came about. So she basically said to her therapist, I'm tired of people taking more than I have the ability to give. Like they just keep taking from my cup and it's exhausting. They just keep taking from my cup and taking from my cup. And so the therapist said, well, why are you giving from your cup? She's like, well, what do you mean? She's like, no. You have your cup. And then there's a cup beside that cup. And only as you give to yourself, when it overflows into the other cup, that's giving to others. So all that to say that your cup needs to be filled first, and you're not supposed to be giving from your cup. You are supposed to have a little other cup that's there to give only when your cup is overfilled. Okay? So if you are hearing what I'm saying, it means that you need to be taking care of yourself, not just on Fridays, not just on Saturdays, not just when you feel like you're about to have an emotional breakdown and you need a vacation or you want to quit or, you're close to burnout. No, we need to be giving ourselves love every single day. And I know you're probably like, what do you mean? I can't afford a manicure every day. I don't have the time to get a massage every day. I don't have time to take a bubble bath every day. Well, and yes, those are considered self-care. But if we're really being serious about what self-care is, it's really just taking care of yourself. It doesn't need to be extravagant. And so if we're doing something every single day to take care of ourselves, then we are going to be able to overflow and pour into others. And so I wanted to give you 4 examples of what self-care can be that probably isn't what you're thinking right now. So yes, I want you to treat yourself to a massage, a facial, a manicure, a pedicure, whatever it is that you want to do for you. Please make the time to do that. Schedule it so that way you can't say, oh yeah, I'm going to go for a massage on Friday. But unless you have an appointment, chances are you're not going to actually go get it. So definitely do those things. But what I wanted to share with you today are 4 different ways that you can take care of yourself every single day that you probably didn't even recognize was a version of self-care. So the first thing is nourishing your body with wholesome meals. you have the opportunity, every single choice you decide to eat, you can really make it balanced and wholesome. And when I say wholesome and nourish, what I mean by that is, most of the time that's going to be real nutrient dense foods, and there's going to be a healthy balance of, healthy fats and lean proteins and complex carbohydrates, all of that stuff. However, sometimes nourishing your body with wholesome meals might mean you allow yourself to have macaroni and cheese with your meal, or you allow yourself to have, French fries with your meal, or whatever it is that really makes you feel good, both physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. That can be part of your wholesome meal. So what that actually looks like is going to change meal to meal, day to day. But in general, if you really are thinking about how you can nourish your body and eat foods that make you feel good both now and later, that really is a version of self-care, right? But under-eating, avoiding your hunger cues, and then overeating past fullness, and then sitting with guilt and shame, and then staying stuck in that diet cycle, you're not taking care of yourself. You're not acknowledging what you truly need. And it leads to one extreme after another extreme. So practice balance and nourishing your body with wholesome meals every single day. And that is you taking care of you. That is one thing that you can do. Another thing you can do is say no to things that drain your energy. So if you're kind of doing a favor for someone, pause for a second. Don't just say yes to that favor. If a coworker asks you to do an assignment and technically you have the time and availability to do it, or maybe they ask you to cover a shift and technically you're not working that day or you don't have anything else on the calendar, so you can do it, still pause, because what you're not recognizing is that because you consistently are saying yes to these things, that is actually what's pulling from your energy in the long run. And what I don't think people realize is that their energy is their best asset. When you are feeling energized and full, you are showing up for others. That is when your cup is overflowing, and then you're able to give without it feeling like you're being pulled from and you have nothing left at the end of it. So your energy, I'm going to repeat this again, it literally is your biggest asset. When you're tired, what do? We don't do our workout. We tend to overeat. We tend to make impulsive decisions. We tend to not do anything because we're too tired. We tend to feel down on ourselves and now our mood is down. We tend to have more of an attitude with our family. And when I say attitude, it's because we have zero patience because we're exhausted. Okay, so your energy really is your best asset. When you feel your best, you show up your best, people get the best from you. So really be mindful that when you're saying no to something, remember that, when you're saying yes to something, remember that saying I've shared before, when you make a choice, you're never just making one choice. So when you say yes to that person, that means you're saying no to something else. And because you're saying yes to that person, so it's like covering their shift, you're also probably saying no to a workout, or no to more sleep, or no to the ability to go to the grocery store, or no to the opportunity to create a fun and creative dish in the kitchen. Like, you don't even know what you can do with that free time just because you keep just saying yes to fill up your space. Okay, so I know not having something on your calendar can be a little scary and daunting, and I hope that from, this year in the pandemic, if you were someone who maybe had a little bit more space in your schedule, you learned that it's okay to do nothing. But if you haven't learned that lesson yet, trust me when I tell you that you have to first create the space to then figure out where to go with it or what to do with it. So stop saying yes to things that are really not serving you and are not going to rejuvenate you and give you energy. Okay? All right, the other thing you can do on a regular basis is moving your body in a way that you enjoy versus doing what you think you should, okay? And I'm using air quotes with that. There's a lot of pressure out there to do certain types of workouts. Like, yes, strength training is really, really great for your muscle mass, but does that mean you need to strength train 4 to 5 to 6 times a week? No. Does that even mean you have to strength train at all if you absolutely hate it? Not necessarily. There's other ways to use your body weight, and maybe you enjoy biking more. So bike some hills. That's resistant. It's not technically resistance training, but you're moving your body, and that's what matters the most, right? Maybe you like yoga, so do yoga. Yeah, you're not sweating like a maniac at the end, but you're moving your body, you're taking care of you. All right. Be mindful that your workout doesn't need to look like somebody else's, just like your diet shouldn't look like somebody else's, right? There might be similarities within it, but it should be individualized to you. So even your movement pattern needs to be individualized to you. Remember, this is a lifestyle change. So just like I wouldn't have somebody eat foods that they don't enjoy because they're not going to stick to it long term, I'm not going to make somebody do a workout that they don't enjoy because they're not going to stick to it long term. And if you haven't heard me say this before, you're going to hear me say it again and again. Anything you do temporarily will only produce temporary results. So you have to make sure that you're enjoying the process, because if not, you'll be forever disappointed with your progress. All right. So a lot of my little one-liner quotes in there, but it's important. All right. And then the last one, I think this one's super, 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 super important as a self-care thing that you can do every day. I mean, I might be challenging to do it every day depending on your work schedule and your home life and all of that stuff, but try to do it more often than not. I recently shared on my Instagram that Bruce's daughter and I just went, so my boyfriend's daughter, she's about to be almost 5, and she's been in my life for the past, since Bruce has been in my life, almost. She's been in my life. I met her like 2 years ago, and she is like the light of my life. I really just love this girl so much. She brings so much joy, but it's sad that I work so much, and a lot of times she wants to play and I'm too busy and I feel bad. I mean, technically it's like not my responsibility, but like it is my responsibility because I want to be there for her and all that stuff. So all that to say, I've recently been taking a break from work. I've been trying to rearrange my schedule in a way that creates more space where, to be honest, guys, to get to where I'm at right now, I work a lot. Like I work a lot, and I tell my clients to, be mindful of it, of their energy, and I try to practice it, and I do practice it, but part of me gets caught up in the passion of it. The other part gets caught up in the anxiety of, if I don't do this, then I'm not going to be far ahead. So I struggle just like you. So trust me when I tell you that I'm working on these things just as much as I'm advising them. But what I have learned or recognized is that when I do take a break from work to spend quality time, whether it's with Bruce, whether it's with Amira, whether it's with my sister or my family, and I just create that space and I just say to myself, you know what? Today you're not looking at your computer. For one day, you're not looking at your computer, or you're just not going to check Instagram until the evening. Or whatever it is. And I give myself that break and I'm fully present with my family members, with my loved ones. I really do come back super rejuvenated and super energized and super creative. And so I think what we tell ourselves, the lie that we tell ourselves is that if I take a break, I'm going to fall behind. But I'm going to challenge that thought and I'm going to say, if you take a break, you're going to speed ahead. All right, hear me when I say that. If you take a break, you are going to speed ahead. And I'm practicing it right now. And oh my God, am I seeing it just exponentially change my mood, my energy. And honestly, guys, I don't know if I think I've mentioned this on the previous podcast episodes. I'm in the process of actually hiring 2 registered dietitians to join my team. And they're going to be doing a majority of the coaching. So I'm going to still be involved in my client's process. I'm still going to do their initial consults. I'll have a couple follow-ups with them here and there, but they're going to get the majority of their accountability with a dietitian from my team. And I was really resistant to let go of this for a bit, but now I see why that this is only going to make everybody better. It will make my client better for a couple reasons. 1, they're going to get 2 dietitians for the price of 1. 2, because I'm not going to be overworked with a client load, and I'm going to make sure that my clients aren't overworked with a client load. We're both going to show up almost like you're getting like 4 dietitians for the price of 1, because when we show up, we are going to be our full selves. We're not going to be exhausted. We're not going to be drained. We're not going to be tired. We're not going to be overworked. We are going to, because just like I'm practicing with myself, I'm going to teach my team to do the same thing. We are practicing boundary setting. We are practicing nourishing our body with wholesome meals. We're practicing moving our bodies in a way that feels good to us. And I'm going to make sure that They hold me accountable when it comes to setting my own boundaries, when it comes to taking a break from work and spending quality time with loved ones. And I'm going to make sure they're doing the same thing. And with that energy and atmosphere, everyone is going to thrive. So my clients are going to thrive even more so, which is kind of like they're already killing it, but it's only going to help them. Then it's going to create space for me to do more podcasting, to be on social media more, to be on other people's podcasts more, and just to like really show up with this creative energy. I've been like obsessed with TikTok and I haven't been able to designate the time that I really feel like I could really kill it on there. So that's an example of me being able to reach more people and really get this message out there. Because honestly, that's what this is about. So we all have a message. We all have a passion. We all have something that we want to do or bring to this world. So whether you're a teacher, you're a lawyer, you are a civil rights activist, whatever it is that you do, something is there that's super important to you. And so if you're not able to show up at your very best self, then you're not going to be able to do that job and the very best. And then the person who loses, yeah, technically you lose, but really the people that lose are the people that you are meant to be on this earth to help and to serve. Your kids aren't getting your energy. They're not getting the best version of you. Your students aren't getting your highest energy. They're not getting the best version of you, right? Your team, if you're on a team at work, they're not getting the best energy of you, right? So you have to really, really take into consideration that not taking care of you is selfish. So I need you to recognize that self-care is something that you can do, and I want you to do every single day. Okay, so I started this by telling you about my client Joshua. He will be on the podcast in a couple of weeks. And one thing that he did is it was so awesome when he sent this to me. He created like a self-care menu. So he had this little checklist that he printed out. He left it by his desk. And he would just every day kind of make sure that he did at least 1 to 2 things on that list. It didn't need to be all of them, but 1 to 2 things to make sure that he was taking care of him. So I gave you a couple examples in this podcast, but other ones that he had on there were things like going for a walk, having a little dance party. What was the last one? Oh, keeping his like environment clean. Like I personally, that is huge self-care for me. If you guys know me, I am a recovering messy person, and I've recently just discovered how much I love clean spaces. Didn't know it before because I never really practiced it, but now I realize like I can't function optimally unless my space in my area is clean. And so I used to be like super messy and then clean it up, and then super messy and then clean it up. And now I'm recognizing that if I kind of clean as I go, it will never get super messy, which means it will never be overwhelming for me to have to clean it up a lot, if that makes sense. So I get to tidy up rather than clean up because I am consciously kind of putting those things in place. All right, so that was kind of like a sidebar. But anyways, so your self-care menu can be whatever you want it to be. So it could include making sure that you're saying no to the things that drain your energy. On there, it could be nourishing your body with wholesome meals. It could be taking a break from work to spend quality time with loved ones. It could be moving your body in a way that you enjoy versus the way that you feel like you quote unquote should. It could be keeping a clean workspace. It could be having yourself a little dance party. It could be going for a walk. It could be taking a bubble bath or getting to sleep earlier. Oh my God, that is so self-care. Getting to sleep earlier is like the best way, I think, to improve your mood. So whatever you want it to be, you don't have to check off everything every single day, just 1 to 2 things a day. And I promise you, you're going to have so much better moods, better energy, just exponentially being able to be there for yourself, which means you'll be able to be there for others without feeling resentment or fatigue or just all the things that come with giving when you don't feel full to give. It's just like that's never feels good. Okay. So I hope that this episode motivated you, inspired you, taught you something new. If it did, take a screenshot of it, share it on your story, tag me at tips_with_Tony with an I, and let me know your big takeaway. What are you going to do differently? How did this inspire you? What did this get you to do to kind of maybe change your mindset? How did this help you? Let me know. And if you're not already subscribed to the podcast, definitely hit that subscribe button, that follow button, wherever you listen, so that you are notified anytime an episode comes out, Mondays, Wednesdays, or Fridays. All right, guys, that is it for me today. Thank you so much for listening. As always, I'm Toni Marinucci, your registered dietitian, helping you get healthy one bite at a time.